with Booth, and that is the end of the game.
Oh, disappointing that Maidstone feel like they've dropped 2 points again for the third game in a row. It's the third 1-0 lead that Maidstone have had. Aaron Sibby there mopping his brow, knowing that he could well have had himself a winning goal there for Maidstone United this afternoon. But yeah, just it's a shame for Maidstone there, Darren. They really screwed things up there.
It's another one of those. I said if we get a win it will be hard fought, but the draw in the end ended up being hard fought. I think it turned on the sending off for lots of reasons, not least because Taunton scored just after it, but
switched straight off Maidstone, didn't they? As soon as that red card come, nobody knew where they were going. I know that George pointed to Sol to go somewhere else on the pitch to look after something, and whether it's that exact moment, what exactly has caused it, but they've not defended that set piece that's come in. There's been so many free kicks that Maidstone have dealt with quite routinely this afternoon, and then from there it's just completely dumbfounded everyone, and Grimes is in absolutely acres of space. There's Skipper at the back, heads it in, and it's 2 points dropped again by Maidstone for the third game in a row. That's the negative side of things. The positive side of things, obviously it's a fourth game in a row unbeaten, and we didn't do that at any point last season.
Well, I would say that last season, and I'll take my cap off, but last season, in a second, last season that would have caused total disarray. I mean, remembering Eastleigh and what happened when we went down, that caused a complete and utter disarray, and we were a total shambles right the way from that point. Whereas that was brief. Unfortunately, Taunton took advantage, but we just began to get back into it, to the point where in the last minute Lucas Coverland is looking for attacking options and looking to get the ball into this half. Yes, that's a great way of defending, but also, you've got to try and sneak the odd win from games like that. So, first points dropped at home, a couple, but we've got the same on the road. So, things to learn, things to do, but there was a lot good there, and a couple of things that weren't quite.
One thing to mention, George trying to have a word with referee Warren there afterwards with his hands behind his back to make sure he's not shown to be overly aggressive, but clearly the incident happened right in front of the Maidstone bench, and George and others in the coaching staff, the management team, would have seen that altercation probably better than the referee might well have done. But feels like some disappointment. I was going to say the dark clouds had come over pretty much just as that red card was about to be awarded, and pretty much since then Maidstone a couple of brief moments trying to get themselves back in front after conceding that goal so soon after the red card. A few angry words and noises coming for not the first time this weekend from a Maidstone United and an opponent tunnel. All players being applauded off the pitch. Look, again, I was saying this to Sol at half time, so we want to get away from keep comparing things to last season, but knowing already that we're about over a third of the way to the points we had last season, we've only lost once, we've got a better unbeaten run than we had at any point last season. It's still disappointing in the moment, and to have had a third game in a row where we have gone ahead and conceded, that's 6 points already dropped from winning positions. I mean, Lord knows, I know I've got it written down somewhere, it's probably mid-20s I think probably in terms of what was dropped last season in the league, but we're already on a steady decline to achieve something similar to last season, keep getting ahead so often and then not taking the points, and that's certainly a habit that Maidstone United would want to avoid. It was 29 we dropped from winning positions last season, Darren.
Well, I'd far rather be addressing this problem than I would the problems we were, not addressing last season.
No, of course, and I think we have addressed some of them, but I still think we've got some issues in terms of holding on to leads, getting that extra goal in. I don't think we were inviting the pressure on too much in that last 15-20 minutes more than we have done in other games, but I just think, especially because it's a home game, We had 5 at the back against Slough. As much as it was criticised, it certainly did a job, but there were certainly some chances that Slough had. I'd probably say that Slough had as good a chances as Taunton did, and we ended up winning the Slough game. The Taunton game here, you could say with some of the chances that Taunton had at the end, not as many as Slough, but there was the potential for Taunton to still come away with all 3 points and not really have that many chances. They were could have been on another day quite clinical and ended up stealing that. I wasn't going to mention the St James's Park again, but I did have a feeling I was going to have a second game in 24 hours where a side gets down to 10 men and the result completely turns on its head after the red card. And yes, Maidstone do come away with a point in the end, which
I'd like to see that again, because from this position, we're a little way away. It just looks like
a 50-50.
A 50-50, the ball bouncing in between 2 players. I mean, the Taunton player went down, and the Maidstone player didn't quite get it properly. But that as a red card, really? No.
Well, again,
sorry. I mean, as much as you look at Biveshi's on Saturday and you say, I'm sorry, but you have to go. If I were the Graphs manager, I'd be looking at it and saying, unlucky son, I want you to be competitive, I want you to go for the ball. It's the sort of thing that Reece Grant was doing all the time on Saturday and only got 1 yellow card for.
Here's hoping, Darren, that the footage that we have of that particular challenge might go to show, because there'll be the technical camera over the other side in between the dugouts as well, that might have a better view than what we've had from behind it, because we've had the same as the camera being behind the footage, and De Graaf just been going towards the dugout, towards the camera on the far side. So potentially there's hope that the footage from up there would show that there was clean contact on the ball, and the opposition player for Taunton might well have feigned it. It was
I don't think
Chamberlain.
It, but
no, but certainly not enough contact to justify what happened. I'm clutching at the straws here, essentially, to say that it might well be a red card and stay a red card. There has to be something really conclusive to that footage over there to show that that's something different than what actually happened. So I'm not particularly hopeful, and I think it will be De Graaf and Gurung who are now missing for 3 games. So the squad will get stretched. The likes of Perry Andelo, I mentioned pre-kick-off, will be coming in for Perry. Certainly Solwandro Smith needs to be coming back in as well for that forward line as well to make up for both of those players.
And of course there's a Hoyt injury as well to consider.
Yes, because he's come off. Brown's had something similar and managed to take a couple of games to come back. Hopefully Hoyt will be able to come back quickly and ready for the Weymouth trip on Saturday that yourself and Joe Parkhouse will be covering for us down there.
I mean, I think in summary, I think Taunton will be travelling on their long journey home slightly the happier, but and they'll take some positives out of this, and they'll be saying, right, well, okay, a point on the road, that's good, but there was plenty good here. I'm not going to keep making excuses or saying that sort of thing, because we need to be better, but only slightly better, and it's all within our grasp.
Definitely is, and I mean statistically we're not far off of what we've done before in terms of starts in the last decade. It's the exact same number of points after the first 6 games that we had the playoff win against Sutton, against Ebbsfleet in the year that Sutton won the league, I was going to say, in 15-16. Obviously we had 1 more point last season, we ended up getting relegated. We had 5 more points than we have today, and we ended up winning the league eventually 2 seasons ago. So they make an ass out of people, these stats, and you're not going to get too much prevalent information from them. It's just showing that Maidstone generally always fairly decent starters, and when you think that they've thrown away 6 points that could have easily seen them with their best start in a decade and a better start than what they had in the league winning season 2 years ago, it does show you the fine margins with all 3 of those games. So those 6 points dropped, would have been at 15, now ultimately at 9, loitering just about in the top half of the table. Not checked the tables yet, we'll do in a moment once our hot take is finished, but it's that killer second goal, and it's been time after time after today's time that Maidstone, and Sol was saying it with us at half-time, saying that Maidstone need to get a second and a third and need to be in the ascendancy. I said it before half-time. Ideally, we'd have that second goal before half-time, and the chances were there. Maidstone overall on balance probably had better chances, but at the same time, I think if you assess the whole 90, I don't think that's an undeserved result for Taunton today either. I think they deserved getting a point.
I think the big difference between this season and last season is the ifs on days like today are small.
And the 1 point becoming a 0 very quickly for Maidstone, hence those 29 that have been dropped last season. It's been 6 dropped so far this season from the last 3 games, but at the same time it's seeing 3 points becoming 0 points.
Yeah, rather than 1 point.
Exactly, and it's 3 more points than we would have had than the games we would have had last season, frankly.
Absolutely, and that's the reason that I'm feeling that we're going to get I'm struggling for the word to find about it. It's going to be a decent season. It's going to be a season of exploration. I called it Project Elacobe. Yeah, absolutely, and George is going to learn some stuff, players are going to learn some more stuff, and hopefully we're hitting the ground, we're doing a nice comfortable jog at the moment, and hopefully we'll be up to a sprint reasonably soon.
Fingers crossed, as Mr. Elacobe is down there giving his interview. That'll be up online later. That's probably where we'll leave the hot take for now.